Hey, what's going on, people? Welcome back. I am IndiePride, and this is Subcommanders, a game mode popularized by my good friend Oakley Hidef from THFEProductions, where 3 or 4 players from opposing teams each take command over a specific troop type in a given army. In this Empire vs. Bretonnia battle, I will be commanding the elite cavalry of Reikland, the Emperor Karl Franz wielding Galmoraz as my legendary lord, leading his Reiksguard and Royal Altdorf Griffites into battle. But for real, go check out Oakley's channel. He makes the highest quality Total War / historical documentaries on YouTube. Really awesome content. Can't recommend him highly enough. Hidden in the forest on the east side of the Blue Reach River, Wolf has a bunch of Empire Knights, so he will be commanding the low-tier Empire Cavalry, range units, and artillery for the forces of Reikland, with a higher-tier Knight of the Blazing Sun, the Chosen of Myrmidia, thrown in for good measure. As the focal point of our army, that marvelous steampunk creation created by Leonardo Maragliano, the famed and now deceased Chilean inventor, and Gojira will be commanding our infantry forces with a very flavorful and themey army, flagellants, and great sword supported by none other than the Grand Theogonist of the cult of Sigmar himself, Volkmar the Grim, on his war standard, flanked by a warrior priest and witch hunter. It's going to be time to purge the land of these poxy Bretonians. Got a bunch of great swords, and in the back we have the Hammer of the Witches, which has a massive 100 bonus versus large, do a lot of damage to Bretonian cavalry, and in the back more great cannons, Hellstorm rocket batteries, and some contingents of handgunners backed up by a light wizard with a net of Ammontok to prevent those Pegasus knights from charging in and disrupting our artillery. Zintler's Reiksguard in the back, immune to psychology, and more hidden knights on this flank, some more demigryphs as well. So those will be under my command as the cavalry commander. Let's get an overview of the battle real quick here. We can kind of see the deployments, although this map is so big you can't actually get a complete overview of the battlefield. But you can see King Louis Leoncoeur and Alberic of Bordelot flying around on their Hippogryphs, and the field trebuchets have begun their 90-kilogram projectile assault from over 300 meters away. Empire Halberdiers taking a pounding on that Empire right flank, and Alberic of Bordelot and his Hippogryph Knights are going to be a serious threat, and probably the biggest advantage the forces of Bretonnia have in this Subcommanders battle. The huge amount of maneuverability the Bretonians have in the air, and their ability to swarm isolated targets with armor piercing and bonus versus large is going to make things really tough for the Empire. That's why we have 2 light wizards to hopefully control them better with the net of Ammontok. Benny is commanding the infantry forces for Bretonnia, a bunch of Grail Pilgrims backed up by the Grail Reliquae. Got some Foot Squires, which are armor piercing and bonus versus infantry frontline troops. Very cost effective. And in the woods, we have the Fey Enchantress, the moral representative of the Lady of the Lake, Lore of Lifecaster on her faithful unicorn, Silveron. As you would expect, the Bretonians have a bunch of terrifying cavalry, a lot of it hidden in the background. Questing Knights with their 34 armor piercing value, extremely good against armored units, and the Grail Knights, Living Saints, who are immune to vigor and have a powerful charge and bonus versus large. So those are the builds. Lot of flyers, a lot of cavalry on the field for Bretonnia, so that mobility is going to give them a bit of an advantage. But like I said, the net of Ammontok will give us some ability to control them if they get too close. We can overcast net of Ammontok, make sure they can't move, and then shoot them to pieces with our handgunners or these troops. But Royal Pegasus Knights are on the flank right now, scouting out our cavalry, trying to get around in the back lines and see if they can maybe get some quick strikes into the handgunners or into our artillery. My cavalry was moving up, and they got bombarded a few times by the field trebuchets, and I quickly dodged those and pulled them back. Karl Franz will be leading his elite Empire cavalry out to the left flank behind the woods and hopefully get around and into the hidden Bretonian cavalry. I did expect them to have a lot of hidden troops behind their army, and I will be proven to be correct. As you can see, they have a lot of stuff hidden back there. We're going to move the mini-map, make it a little bit bigger so you get an overview of the battlefield better. Nice shot from the trebuchets right into the middle of the great swords. Very smart move from our opponents here to be targeting these 950 gold great swords. Pretty expensive mainline troops, and really the only things they're going to be able to easily deal with Foot Squires in melee. So doing as much damage to them as possible will be a great advantage for the Bretonians. But now our Hellstorm rocket batteries will begin their opening salvos, raining fiery death from above and into the battle pilgrims. That is what we're going to be targeting to begin with. Very high leadership troops, so doing as much damage to them as possible early on definitely be very nice. Great cannon shot. Really nice there. Jibbing a bunch of the battle pilgrims. Man, that is brutal stuff. And the peasant archers are beginning to fire with their pox arrows. Those confer a poison detriment to enemy troops and doing a lot of damage to the very low armor of these flagellants, being led by Volkmar the Grim, taking a lot of damage. Those pox arrows look awesome. That green effect looks super cool, and they are getting slowed and destroyed by all that ranged firepower as they move up. So Gojira will be looking to engage in this mainline fight, while the Bretonnian peasants and foot squires move up. Hellstorm rocket batteries raining from above, and some hidden Knights of the Realm there also getting ready to spring their ambush. And these foot squires in the background have actually taken quite a pounding from our Hellstorm rocket battery salvos. We had the Sunmaker, which fires a lot more ammunition, much faster succession. Here come the Knights of the Realm up the front line into the middle of the flagellants, doing a lot of damage off the charge. You see they're going to drop HP very quickly. Halberdiers moving up to reinforce, and the front line peasant mob have engaged in the center as well. I love the weapons they're using. They have like spades and shovels and really crappy stuff, and they're just going to break instantly. They only cost 100 gold. They're worse than zombies, but backed up by a Guerrero Reliquary, they can actually meat shield for you extremely effectively. I did forget to mention Oakley is commanding the elite cavalry and flyers for Bretonnia, and Uric is commanding the mid-tier questing knights and Knights of the Realm for Bretonnia. So here comes some flagellants charging headlong into a bunch of peasant mob that should go in the way of the flagellants for sure. And the fanatics that follow Volkmar wherever he goes will tear through those peasant mob like a hot knife through butter. Great swords and Empire Spearmen and Halberdiers moving up as well. Handgunners firing into the flank, and my Zintler's Reichsguard looking to clean up some of that Bretonnian cavalry. Their immunity psychology will keep them in the fight against King Lewin or Alberic of Bordelot. But in the background, here come the Pegasus Knights from Bordelot, Oakley's Royal Pegasus and the regular Pegasus Knights, charging into the back of one of the Hellstorm rocket batteries and slaughtering the crew there. Those elite Bretonnian cavalry, flying cavalry, will make short work of this artillery crew. Those handgunners should be tearing into them right now. That's why we brought them out of Amtok. Must have missed it. Focusing somewhere else on the battlefield. And here come the Empire Knights and my cavalry attack. So Wolf will be commanding those Empire Knights. I will be commanding the Reichsguard and the Demigryph Knights, the more elite cavalry. You can see that Wolf is getting a little bit blobbed up here, and those field trebuchets doing quite a bit of damage to the Empire Knight front line. Needs to spread out a bit more. My cavalry attack is coming in as well. And I have a net of Ammontok Light Wizard to tie down some of this enemy cavalry, and a Jade Wizard to support them with Earthblood. That AoE heal will be invaluable in these cavalry fights. Gonna get a nice net of Ammontok into these Knights Errant, which is actually not a fantastic target, honestly. I had thought I was a questing knight when I was playing the battle. It's actually just a regular Knight Errant, so only a 700 gold unit. I'm kind of going to waste my charge bonus on it, and that will allow questing knights to spring their ambush from the trees. And here comes King Lewin to reinforce as well, charging into the back of some of my Reichsguard. Here come the questing knights. It's going to be a good engagement for Bretonnia, but I also have the Royal Altdorf Griffites nearby, ready to reinforce as well. But even more Bretonnian cavalry moving out of the woods, ready to engage. Karl Franz and Galmaraz charging headlong into some questing knights with their 34 armor-piercing damage. They will be able to hold out in melee for quite a long time here, but backed up by Karl Franz and Earthblood from the Jade Wizard, should be able to do alright in this melee fight. It's going to be tough, though, for both sides. Empire and Bretonnia, there are a lot of high-tier cavalry units duking it out here on the left flank, and whoever wins this cav fight is going to give their team a huge advantage in the overall battle, because that means they'll have the advantage of the mobility and the ability to get into the back lines, kill the trebuchets, and kill the range units. So we'll see how that cav fight progresses. It is madness, absolute bedlam over here. Pegasus Knights getting ripped apart by Net of Ammontok and handgunners, but there were some Hippogryph Knights that also landed in the range units who are doing a lot of damage to all these artillery crews. You can see Hellstorm rocket batteries getting decapitated, ripped apart by those Hippogryph Knights, some of the highest tier flyers in the entire game. And my elite cavalry over on the right flank is now beginning to push as well. You can see Banishment from Volkmar the Grim getting cast on a bunch of Knights of the Realm. Pox arrows firing in, and my Reichsguard, I believe Zintler's Reichsguard, leading the charge. No, that's just regular Reichsguard. Leading the charge into some Knights of the Realm who will not get their charge bonus off, which is going to be very important. Backed up by Demigryph Knights with halberds might be able to turn this cav fight in my favor. But there is a lot of high-tier Bretonnian cavalry over here as well. Look at that. Just so many units of Questing Knights and Grail Knights. Reichsguard are going to get a rear charge into these Grails, but that will unfortunately allow the rest of the Grails to overlap and get their own hammer and anvil onto my troops. I need reinforcements over on this side, or my cavalry is going to get overwhelmed. In the center, the infantry fight seems to be relatively even, maybe going Bretonia's way in the center with the Footsquire support, but on the flanks, great swords overwhelming the Bordelot and Bretonnia and Carcassonne troops. And we have some silver bullets firing into what looks like a paladin behind the woods there. Maybe dropping his model there, that'd be real nice. Steam tank supporting the cavalry over on this side, firing into the flank of a bunch of Grail Knights who have taken a lot of damage in this fight. But my Reichsguard are very beaten up as well, and Royal Altdorf Griffites on their last legs. King Lewin landing on Karl Franz, Beikis the Hippogryph, and Karl Franz on his Barded Warhorse will be trading blows here. Two of the greatest warriors in the old world, two of the greatest human warriors to ever exist. That will be a very interesting fight. We'll see how that goes. Earthblood is definitely helping me out in that fight, but the Bretonnians have so much cavalry. I feel like I need to get my steam tank into melee combat to terrify these troops, or I'm going to be in serious trouble. But Lewin also confers the Blessing of the Lady, gives them immune to psychology, so I'm not even sure the terror from the steam tank will help too much. Those Royal Pegasus from Oakley are getting torn to shreds by handgunners, but they look to be just on the edge of the handgunner's range. That's one thing that you should always do if you have handgunners and you see that a unit's just on the edge of your range. Move them up. Just take 2 seconds to move them up just a bit more and then fire in, and you'll get even better volleys off and probably drop the entire unit of Pegasus in like a volley or two. So definitely make sure to pay attention to that. Volkmar the Grim on his war chariot, pushing forward into a bunch of foot squires, laying about with his hammers of Sigmar, with the warrior priest on the back of the chariot. That looks so epic. That is so cinematic, seeing Volkmar do his work here. Such an awesome model on him. And there is just so much carnage on the battlefield. Looks like those Pegasus are finally going to go running for the hills, but there is very little cavalry left on the field for the Empire. Royal Altdorf Griffites took a pounding in that fight. Questing Knight going down to a steam tank bash. This could still go either way on this side, but there will be almost nothing left for either side. King Lewin and Beikis landing again. Karl Franz still in the fight. The Jade Wizard still in the fight. But it seems to be shifting somewhat towards Bretonnia in that specific cavalry engagement. The steam tank still at full HP, surrounded by Questing Knights, but should be able to bash them apart and see how that kind of fight goes there. The Hippogryph Knights, or what remains of them, caught by Nenov Ammontok again. I came in to reinforce the Zintler's Reichsguard, who are doing quite a bit of damage to these Grail Guardians who made it into the artillery crew, but that is a lot of firepower and damage that Alberic and the Hippogryph Knights and the Grails especially can do, and I'm not sure we have enough in the background to prevent all these flyers from coming in and doing their damage. So much carnage being laid about by this Bretonnian Air Force. So powerful, being able to quickly reinforce from one side of the battle to the next, send them wherever they're needed on the field. A lot of flyers, and that's one thing the Empire is lacking in this matchup. They don't really have a way to go toe-to-toe with Bretonnia in the air without just bringing a bunch of Amber Wizards on Griffins and a bunch of Griffins themselves. So that is going to be going Bretonnia's way for now, but the steam tank is still alive. Volkmar the Grim is still alive, and the Flagellants are unbreakable, so this is not over yet by any stretch of the imagination. Steam tank pulling away from the foot squires, trying to get some distance between the two so it can turn around and start firing with that huge cannon into the middle of that infantry, but the cav fight is definitely going to go in Bretonnia's favor, and there is a lot of mobility left on the field for Bretonnia. Balance bar very much in their favor, but beautiful shot from the steam tank going directly through the side of that foot squire formation, ripping them apart with that massive caliber projectile. And the field trebuchet is still firing another beautiful shot, blood spattering the side of the trebuchets, who are still firing in, and those foot squires are not having a good time. Trying to pull away. One more shot coming in from the steam tank, and it's going to go right over their heads and barely, just barely miss them. Could have been a brutal shot. So in the center, Bretonnia seems to be in the ascendancy, and pretty much everywhere you look, Bretonnia has pretty big advantages. Nice shot from the steam tank right through the Grail Knights, killing 4 or 5 of them on the charge. They're coming in now. They have bonus versus large and a bit of armor piercing damage, so they'll do okay. But the steam tank actually took the charge for these Knights of the Blazing Sun who are coming in from the flank, and that could be enough to finish off those Grails. But the steam tank is starting to take some damage. Nice flanking charge from the Knights of the Blazing Sun. Good move there from Wolf. Pretty nice work from the steam tank and from the cavalry, but will it be enough to win this engagement? King Lewin looking very menacing in the background. Hippogryph Knights landing on top of the steam tank, and they are a nightmare for a steam tank to deal with. They have 108 damage, and I think like 80 of it is armor piercing. So with 3 models, the HP that they have, and King Lewin all landing on top of him with Questing Knights also armor piercing, Foot Squires also armor piercing, look at how fast that steam tank is gonna go down. It was about 2/3 HP, and in about 15 seconds, it is almost dead, surrounded by the Bretonians, who are going to rip it apart with their armor piercing. Very nice move from Oakley, from Uric, and from Benny to just completely surround the steam tank and destroy it. It will go down, and that was the last hope for the forces of Reikland. It's just going to be cleaning up now. Looks like that was a bounce spell from the Fey Enchantress. Handful of flagellants left, but they're going to get destroyed by that Questing Knight charge. Slammed into the ground. Grail Reliquary backing them up. And in the background, the Flyers and the Grail Guardians are swarming and finishing off everything over here as well. So Karl Franz and my cavalry contingent got scared off by Terror in the fight over on the left flank, and they all routed. So my cavalry kind of crumbled over there, and there was just so much mobility on the field for Bretonnia, it made it extremely tough. The aerial dominance the Bretonians can show in a big battle like this really makes it hard to win in a 3v3 in a Subcommanders battle. That doesn't mean we couldn't have won this battle. We absolutely could have. Definitely made some mistakes with our range units and our cavalry engagements. With that said, definitely super fun here. We're going to see the Volkmar the Grim and Albrecht aboard a low go at it, and that War Chariot is going to get punished hard by Albrecht, who has a bonus versus large and high armor piercing. King Lewin landing on top of him too. No honor there. Where's the chivalry? Knight's Banishment going off, but you aren't even going to let Albrecht and Volkmar 1v1. Going to slam in with a bunch of Questing Knights. Not very chivalrous, and Volkmar will go down here. And that's just going to leave his Tatter Souls and the Flagellants left alive. So what could we have done differently in this battle? Well, I will say, like I said, I think that having aerial dominance in a Subcommanders battle is a huge advantage, because it means your Flyers can go from one side of the battlefield very quickly to the other and reinforce wherever they're needed. Very quickly take out the ranged units and artillery in the background, and it can be very difficult to coordinate defenses against an aerial assault when you're commanding infantry and someone else only has ranged units. So there was that. The Cav fight was not too far in the Bretonians' favor, but the Questing Knights are just extremely good against Reiksguard, and they even performed very well against Demigryph Knights as well because of their high armor piercing. So it was going to be a tough fight, but yeah, the Net of Amantok, my usage of it in the Cav fight wasn't ideal. Nice charge are coming in from King Lewin and a bunch of Questing Knights, and my Steam Tank support in the Cav fight wasn't fantastic either. I think I could have used him in melee a bit better and helped make sure King Lewin couldn't reinforce, because if the Steam Tank is bashing on King Lewin every time he lands, he's not going to want to stick around for very long. With that said though, the Bretonian players, Uric and Benny and Oakley, performed very well in this game. Microed their cavalry very well, made a few mistakes with their Flyers, but for the most part just got in, destroyed our Hellstorm rocket batteries, destroyed our handgunners, and overwhelmed the Cav fights very well. Super cinematic, very tactical battle. I love the Subcommanders battles because you are all responsible for your own units, and that means you have to be or work in tandem with your teammates much better. And if you aren't working well together, you're going to get completely overwhelmed and destroyed. And it makes for more tactical, more interesting, and more spread out battles, which I think make for just awesome videos. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching that one as much as I enjoyed playing it. It was a really fun battle. Absolutely love the Subcommander series. Again, that was Oakley Hidef's idea. I don't know if he was the first one who ever introduced it, but I don't know of anyone else who's ever done it on YouTube. So I think that we can give him credit for this series. Definitely go check out his channel. You see the kills here. My kill count was lower than usual just because I was fighting all elite tier cavalry like Grail Guardians and Grail Knights and Questing Knights and stuff. But you can see Wolf stuff. His artillery did quite a bit of damage to the Bretonnian main line, and his handgunners did alright. And then Gojira's main line, the Flagellants, and the Great Swords did quite well. And Oakley Hidef and his high tier cavalry and flyers definitely making a huge impact on the battle. If not because of the kill count, more to do with the fact that they were just able to reinforce so many parts of the battlefield and quickly come in to murder our unsuspecting range units. Hope you guys enjoyed that one, and I'll be bringing you some more content very soon. See you guys next time.